All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. So today we have a really cool, like budget-friendly 1911 to take a look at. This is the Rock Island Armory 1911 A1 FS Tactical or whatever. I basically call it like the Springfield Armory TRP Operator we have at home because it has the full length here. So if you remember years ago, Springfield Armory released the TRP Operator. God, it must have been over a decade or more ago, with this full-length rail, and it had adjustable sights that were adjustable rear sight that was forward a little bit, and a mag well, some other things, but it basically looked like this. Well, those have become very desirable and rare as hen's teeth, and expensive. Although I heard Springfield's making a limited batch of them. I don't know, this is 2024 that I'm filming this, so I don't know if that's true, but I've always kind of wanted one. But I really didn't want to spend what, people are asking us, 16, 17, $2,000 for it. I got other 1911s that cost that much. So I looked for an alternative option and I saw this. So I said, let me try that out. And here it is. So we're going to take a look at the specs and features and how it shoots and weight and trigger pull gauge, all that kind of stuff. If you're familiar with my channel, you know all the stuff we go through. So obviously these are not the factory grips that came with the gun. These are, I think, a brand called Cool Hand or something, sold on Amazon. And let me tell you what, they're great. I think I paid like 18 bucks for these things, or $20. And for the money, they're pretty good. Now, I will say, on some of them, I have had to, on the inside of these, because these are actually pretty good. On some of the bushings, they'll sit a little high and there'll be an air gap in there, which this one does not have. So I had to get in there with like a screwdriver on the other side of the grip and kind of just scrape it out. But it's pretty easy. So you might have to deal with that. And they don't, there's just, let me see if you can see it here. There's just a little tiny bit of a lip there. I've found, and I think 3 or 4 pairs of these. And I have found that they do come up short just a little bit down here. So if that's something that bothers you, maybe go with a more expensive, a better grip, like a lock grip or a VZ grip, because they usually come right to the edge of the pistol. And if you put a mag well on there, you're going to get that gap right there. Some people, I don't like it very much if there's a gap with a mag well, but this pistol doesn't have that, so that doesn't bother me. And they're a damn sight better than the factory grips that came on the gun, which, as a matter of fact, let's take a look at those. I have the box over here. So this is the box that your pistol is going to come in. Let me set this mag aside over here. Set this right there. It's your pistol. This is the box. It's an okay box, but you get all your manuals, bags, instruction manual, extra screws and stuff. I think that's because I took them off this grip and used the grips that come with the Cool On. So you get these, they're really, let's be frank, they're cheesy. They're not great. They're plastic with a rubber outer, surface, a rubber casing on them. They work, but they're not great. They are no bueno. By the way, I must say that this is not an advertisement for the Cool Hand grips. I found them on Amazon. They don't pay me. They don't know who I am. I don't know who they are. I spent my own money, but they do come with their own set of cool little screws and rubber O-rings. And it's for 20 bucks. I cannot complain. They do really look good, and some of them have the cut in there, although this ambi safety doesn't need it. But let's take a look at this gun. So this is a full size, obviously, 5-inch 1911 with the full length Picatinny rail on the bottom for mounting lights, lasers, and we'll mount this on there in a minute. Lights, lasers, all that kind of jazz. It does have a traditional style bushing, and this one does come with full length guide rod. Now, me, take it or leave it. It came with it. I don't really want to spend the money to buy the plug and the internal guide rod, the standard, and replace it. So for me, it's fine. I think all of my 1911s, minus the Prodigy, I think has the same full-length guide rod. But other than that, it's either here nor there for me. I don't really care, but it came with it, so I'll leave it. Standard mag release, standard slide stop slide release, extended ambidextrous thumb safety on this pistol. We have standard dovetail front sight. It's ramped. There's no dot, no, any type of serrations or anything. And the rear is a Novak style with 2 dots that have not been painted or anything. Now, I don't understand why. This is kind of a little pet peeve for me here. I don't know why they used, maybe it's a cost-cutting issue. Maybe they just, this is the only sight they make, and they just decided not to paint it, so they put them on all their pistols. I don't know, but why wouldn't you have a dot on the front and maybe just paint them, or either delete the dots back here? I don't get that. Says Rock Island Armory right there, which is good, because if you guys have been in the game long enough, as long as I have, you remember when Rock Island was being imported, decades ago, and they had, I'll try to find a picture of an old one, but they had basically this symbol with like the mountain and the 2 cannons and all this other kind of stuff emblazoned along the entire side of this slide here. I mean, it was huge billboard on the side, and people really didn't like that. And I'm glad they listened to their customers, and they just put it back here in the small, the small branding instead of the whole billboard along the sides there. It's got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 position Picatinny rail on there, and this weight, when we get the weight, man, you're gonna see it's heavy. But that helps control recoil, as you'll see in the shooting portion of this video. We have vertical serrations on the front, which is cool. Standard, 20 line or 25, or I'm not sure what this is. It's probably 20 or 25. Checkering on the mainspring housing, and that is metal. Your standard grip safety with the memory bump, which is MIM. Again, ambidextrous thumb safety, commander style hammer. This is for the money. I can't complain. I have fired a couple of shots out of this. We shot some shorts and stuff like that. I went out, just did fun shoot, just kind of shot it up, and so far it's been 100% reliable. I have no complaints about it, other than certain things that we will now touch on. This gun is full of MIM parts, so that's an issue for some people. I don't know that I'm gonna shoot it so much that they'll wear out. If they do, I'll replace them. I'm pretty knowledgeable about 1911s, so I will replace these parts if they become an issue, if they break or fail. But I mean, I think this is MIM'd hammer, MIM grip safety, MIM thumb safety, MIM slide stop, slide release. Lots of MIM parts on here. I do want to point out one thing though. Let me just see if I zoom in on this a little bit. You see that right there at the bottom of the slide? You see that? I dig that, okay? That's a attention to detail that I've noticed. If you can see it in, let's look a little bit forward. There you go. You see how they relieved it? They put a bevel on there on both sides, all the way down the slide. So they didn't leave it at just a sharp 90. They beveled that, which is a little touch that I kind of dig. A lot of lower end manufacturers, or manufacturers of budget friendly 1911s, was just left it sharp and said, I'm not doing that extra machining. Another thing I want to point out too, which is something that Colt and some other brands leave out on their budget guns, is if you look closely, again, I'll zoom in, you see now they could have used a little bit finer grinding wheel, but they blended the back of the slide with the ejector and the extractor, you can see the filing marks where they blended it so that the ejector, the back of the ejector, is not just sticking out the back, and neither is the extractor. So I dig that. I dig the fact that they took the time. Now, again, I said they could have been a little bit, they could have gone back over and stoned it and made it a little bit nicer, or, you know, serrated it on the back so that you could hide that. But they did actually blend it, which is a lot. You know, a lot of companies don't even bother to do that. Only thing I replaced on this gun is, if you're familiar with my videos, my channel, you know me, my pet peeve, I like a solid thumb safety. When I shoot, I rest my thumb on the thumb safety. I don't like it when they are fit poorly and they push down this way, or if they're mushy because they have a soft spring in here. I did put a Wilson Combat plunger tube spring in here, and I changed the grips. Other than that, that is it. This is a stock gun, and I'm going to tell you too, the trigger, we're going to get the trigger pull on here. The trigger is actually really nice on this gun. I got to give it to them. So let me go run through real quick the standard things I do in a 1911 to check fit, finish, and all that kind of jazz. We push down the barrel hood to see if it is fit properly. Now, I did get a little bit of movement there. I did get a little bit of downward movement. I felt it. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Just a little bit of downward movement. We check, again, the positivity of the thumb safety. There is no movement down, so it's fit properly. It's really on-off positive, and that is because of the Wilson Combat plunger tube spring. Does it work? It does. Does the... Okay, now the grip safety, does it work? We'll check the thumb safety, check the grip safety. Yep, check the engagement of the grip safety. It's about 50%. That's fit pretty good. Does it function? Yes. Yep. We also push forward on the hammer to see if it falls, and that's either a weak sear spring or poor hammer, hook, and sear engagement. If it's had a trigger job done on it, and maybe and it wasn't re-hardened and the stuff's wearing out. Everything seems to be functioning as it's supposed to. So let's get a weight, a trigger pull, and then, you know what, I'll put this light on, like I said, and then we'll get a weight with that too. So let's try that. Let's get this scale over here. All right, the empty pistol by itself, 41.49 ounces, and with the factory supplied empty magazine, 43.82 ounces. I just need to talk about this magazine right quick. So this is kind of like maybe a Mekgar style mag. I don't think it's made by Mekgar. It's a little bit rougher finish than Mekgar, and it seems like this sheet steel that they use is a little bit thinner than a Mekgar, but it's worked so far. It's worked fine so far, and I'm just gonna set this on here, and I'm not gonna tighten it down all the way. I'll do that before I go out and shoot so it doesn't fly off. But I'm just kind of curious what the weight is with the light, because the light, okay, so it adds by itself without the magazine, it adds what, 5 ounces? And any type of front end weight that you can add to the gun helps with recoil. And I think, again, we're gonna see that on the range. Let's see if we can get a trigger pull off of this gun, because again, it actually has a really nice trigger. All right, so are we good? We are good. Let's see what we can get. 488. Let me see here. Let me get a better grip on this. Let me reset that. 396. That 488 might have been, I might have had 382. Yeah, let me do another one, because that 488, we're going to throw that one out. Yeah, I screwed that one up too. So it's probably right around 4 pounds, and it breaks very nice. I gotta hand it to him, man. It's actually a really nice trigger. Beats a lot of my Colts, I'm not even gonna lie. So you know what? Let's get this out to the range and let's just see how it shoots. All right, folks, so we find ourselves back out on the range. This time with the Rock Island Armory M1911A1 FS Tactical, the Springfield Operator TRP we have at home. I'm kidding, of course. We have some of the standard, the channel standard, 230 grain blue bullets, 45 ACP. We got steel down there, and we're just going to shoot it up. We're going to see how well she shoots, and then of course we're going to do our standard accuracy tests and all that kind of jazz. So let's just see how it goes. Get my hearing pro on. Let's fire this bad boy up. Got too much stuff in my pocket. All right, folks, accuracy portion of the test. We have our standard USPSA cardboard target. We have our 2-inch shooting C's. I'm gonna go back 7 yards. I'm gonna fire 3 rounds of 230 grain blue bullet reloads, and we're just gonna see how it shoots. Windy out here. Let's try to shoot this in the wind. There's my glasses. All right, folks. So as you can see, I pulled that first one. I knew I had, so I said, let me fix my trigger control, because I was aiming here. I knew the minute it hit, and you see the next two were dead center. So let's go back and get the final thoughts. All right, folks, final thoughts on the Rock Island Armory FS Tactical. I think it's pretty good. I honestly believe it punches above its weight. I have not had any reliability issues with this. It's not a stinker. Actually, to tell you the truth, I've been pretty lucky lately in all the 1911s that I've bought, whether it's from Rock Island or T-Sauce or whatever. I have not had any real issues with them. They've all been pretty darn reliable. I think we might be at the pinnacle of production 1911 building. But as discussed in the tabletop, and as you saw with the weight, it's pretty heavy. This full length rail gives it a lot of front end weight, which helps control recoil. This thing is a dream to shoot. Not that 45 ACP is like punishing in any way, you know, but it shoots so smooth. And then the little bit of weight, the light doesn't add that much, but the little bit of weight that the light adds on there helps too. But man, does it shoot smooth. Not a fan, again, as discussed in the tabletop, not a fan of this is probably a cost-cutting measure right there. See if you can pick it up. The two little dots that are not filled in, but they didn't put a dot up front. It's like a smooth ramp up front, but then a Novak style rear with the dots. Why do you not have one without the dots? The dots are kind of distracting, but trigger is fantastic on this gun. I got no complaints. It shoots great. I probably could have shot it better, but other than that, again, go check out these grips. Not sponsored. Purchase these off Amazon. I think they were like 20 bucks, man. I think the brand is like Cool Hand or something like that. Like 20 bones, and they're okay. They're not as good. I'm gonna tell you right now, they're not as good as like Lock grips or what are the other ones? The VZ grips or anything like that. But they're good enough, especially for 20 bucks. So yeah, for the price I paid for this, which again, I think was $599, so a little over $600 once transfer fee and all that kind of stuff. I'm a fan. It's a win for me. So thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you next time.